From Mr. Beast prophesying his own life, 10 years from now, I will be famous on YouTube, to CoffeeZilla foreseeing a huge crypto lender's downfall. I predicted the collapse of this billion-dollar company that went bankrupt today. Here are 7 times YouTubers predicted the future. Starting with Mr. Beast, who back in 2015 uploaded a video sharing his bold take on YouTube.
10 years from now, I feel like YouTube's going to have beaten out TV. What I mean by that is I feel like a lot of TV shows are going to switch to YouTube because you can put the same amount of ads on it on YouTube.
At the time, some thought he sounded delusional. YouTube might not even be here in 10 years, until 2025, when YouTube started dominating US TV screen time and beating even Netflix.
That Netflix is going to end the first half of the year with 7.8 million fewer subscribers. So almost 8 million fewer subscribers than Wall Street was expecting.
But that's not all that then teenage Jimmy predicted.
10 years from now, if these YouTubers grow at the same rate, PewDiePie will have 117 million subscribers.
And while he didn't nail it exactly, PewDiePie sits at 110 million as of September 2025, only 7 million off, which is close, but nothing compared to his biggest prediction yet.
10 years from now, I will be famous on YouTube. Let's go. We're so close. Oh my gosh. That was wow, we did it.
The prophecy didn't just come true, it became the end of an era and the start of an empire, with Mr. Beast becoming the most subscribed person on the platform. But while the YouTuber hit the mark perfectly there, he did overestimate his relationship goal.
Dude, I'm probably gonna be married and stuff.
Although even this is a prediction that's on its way to becoming true, with Jimmy currently engaged to fellow YouTuber Theo Basin. Since his engagement, Mr. Beast has maintained his momentum, growing to 443 million subscribers and continuing to dominate YouTube, thanks to his ability to foresee where the platform's headed. But where Mr. Beast correctly predicted so much, there was one thing he failed to see, that Sunny V2 saw instead. The only clean solution, should things go south, might be for Chris to resign himself. And even then, rumors and bad press will be unavoidable. Whether it be arrogance or ignorance, this bold claim was from Sunny's video, Why Chris Will Soon Be a Nightmare for Mr. Beast. Beginning in March 2022, Chris began to display increasingly feminine traits, making tweets such as, I finally got my nails done at a nail tech. Additionally, Chris would highlight that his facial appearance had significantly changed since the start of the pandemic. Chris seems oblivious to how this whole thing might impact Jimmy, forgetting that he achieved his current level of success by avoiding this exact type of drama. Although Sunny V2 thought his stance was justified, his viewers didn't agree. A truly garbage Sunny V2 video. It's transphobic dubbishness, thinly veiled as an essay. Worse, this backlash wasn't even from just his audience. Yeah, this is getting absurd. Chris isn't my nightmare. He's my effing friend and things are fine. All this transphobia is starting to piss me off, forcing Sanani to quietly change his video's title as his reputation suffered for months until mid-July 2024 when Ava Chris Tyson was exposed for supporting an infamous child porn artist and inappropriately messaging a 13-year-old boy back in 2018. As a result, Mr. Beast completely backtracked on his earlier support for Chris. I've seen enough online and taken immediate action to remove Ava from the company, my channel, and any association with Mr. Beast, prompting people to revisit Sanani's nightmare prediction. This man predicted the future, got bashed by everyone online, he didn't apologize, then a year later, he came out on top. If this isn't the greatest I told you so moment in YouTube history, I'm gonna lose it. Sanani V2's reputation then soared, and his audience grew to over 4 million subscribers. But on March 20th, 2025, he released his last video to date and vanished from the platform, leaving fans to wonder if he was done with YouTube. Unlike UK psychic Craig Hamilton Parker, or New Nostradamus, who has been more active on the platform than ever after one of his visions became a chilling reality.
That's an enormous fire has broken out there on a vessel.
This headline aligned with what Hamilton Parker stated in his video on March 4th, 2025.
I saw a ship also in trouble as well. And I felt as if there'd be an oil tanker problem coming up soon.
I saw it floundering and it felt it was a ship of some sort in trouble. It could be an oil tanker. Maybe it's passenger, but I felt as if there was some pollution thing.
At the time, people believed he was a fraud, but exactly 7 days later, the massive rescue operation underway there after a collision between a U.S.-flagged tanker and a Madeira-flagged cargo ship.
You can see, certainly from this images, that it's clear that an enormous fire has broken out there on a vessel.
The ships involved were the MV Solomon, a Portuguese cargo ship, which collided with the MV Stena Immaculate, a U.S.-flagged oil tanker hauling nearly 18,000 tons of jet fuel off the English coast. And the tragedy did not end there.
Just now, we are hearing reports that more than 20 casualties were brought ashore at Grimsby following this collision between the cargo ship and the oil tanker at the North Sea. UK authorities arrested Salong's 59-year-old Russian captain, charging him with gross negligence manslaughter. But the disaster set off alarms far beyond the immediate tragedy. This fire, burning in the North Sea, is sparking fears of an environmental disaster off the coast of England. The British government says the environmental impact is being assessed. It's not clear yet why or how the crash happened. And here was where Hamilton Parker's words felt the most haunting. But I felt as if there was some pollution thing. This single line, which was also included in his March 4th prophecy, hit his followers harder than the fire itself. Wow, the ship crashed into the oil tanker yesterday near Grimsby. I had to check that you predicted this a week ago. It's amazing that you foresaw that. And in the aftermath, Craig Hamilton Parker became more than just a psychic, living up to his prophet of doom reputation as he continues posting his predictions for his over 200,000 fans. A stark contrast to Folding Ideas, real name Dan Olson, who was never considered a prophet until he dropped his viral 2-hour essay, Line Goes Up, in early 2022. The future version of the web, built on the back of cryptocurrency and mediated by financialized tokens, is a dystopia. It's a technology that's built to turn everything into money, to treat every corner of our social existence as a marketplace. This chilling claim about a potential crypto collapse back then only made crypto enthusiasts dismiss him as a pessimist. One more on the list that is saying that kind of is. We got used to it. But these same enthusiasts weren't the most optimistic when this happened just months later. Trading in NFTs, or non-fungible tokens, has collapsed now. Since its peak at the start of 2022, volume has slid from $17 billion in January to about $470 million in September. That's according to data from Dune Analytics. Now that's also a drop of 97%. This crypto collapse wasn't the only thing Olson predicted, though. He also warned about how corporations would eventually twist the tech. That they failed to consider that the enforcement of ownership can and will be used against them if and when corporations decide to leverage their power in the space. A prediction like that aged like fine wine, because instead of empowering users, NFTs became riddled with lawsuits and scams. But before ending his video, Olson cut even deeper.
The far more probable result is that the tokens are used to lock products down even tighter.
And he was right. By late 2022, Ubisoft's Quartz NFTs and Ghost Recon were slammed by players for doing exactly that, restricting access while offering no real ownership. Since then, Dan Olson has continued making high-end documentaries that educate and warn his over 1 million fans, much like tech reviewer Mr. Who's the Boss, who would accidentally come across one of the biggest smartphone scams on the internet.
So about a month ago, I saw an advert on YouTube for the U-Phone, supposedly the most innovative smartphone in 20 years. So I bought one.
But unlike what many would have thought, Mr. Who's the Boss already saw the red flags loud and clear.
You don't need to do a whole lot of digging to know that something is off. So all I wanted to do was to get the product, show you guys it was garbage, and then make sure that none of us have anything to do with this U-Phone company again.
Although that didn't happen, because things turned out to be even shadier than the YouTuber had predicted.
Wait a second, that phone looks familiar.
And sure enough, one reverse Google image search later, the most innovative smartphone in 20 years is nothing more than the $60 UFO S10 Pro. And this was just the tip of the iceberg. While I was doing this image search, I noticed another phone that looked almost identical, but this one wasn't labeled as the U phone, it was the X1 phone. However, things only got worse once it was time to pay.
After making the payment, I could see that my money hadn't gone to the Uphone company, but in fact a company called Hyper SLS. And this is where the entire scam started unraveling. See, in all this time I've been waiting for my phone to arrive, I've been served 36 adverts that look something like this. Isn't it just a bit weird that they all have the exact same style as that first ad I came across? Either it's a whole bunch of companies that are collaborating on this scam, or there's one person behind the entire operation. And at this point, I was siding with the latter.
Of course, Mr. Who's the Boss didn't stop his investigation here. He set out to find who was behind it all.
Ricardo Jorge Pereira Duza Coelho, a part-time amateur footballer and part-time Estonian businessman. If you search his name, it's linked to one company, DB2 Management. This site is classified as a parent company. He has one employee and supposedly brought in $28.72 million in a year.
So my guess would be that DB2 Management is just this one guy, and it manages this shady web of companies around the world. Nevertheless, all of this was still just speculation, until the smartphone he had ordered confirmed everything. And I couldn't believe it. It was an X1 phone. I'd ordered a U phone, but ended up getting the X1. In the aftermath, viewers flooded his comment section with praise. His research was top-notch for real. Stay blessed, man, and watch your back. But as fans had feared, the company he had exposed wasn't so happy, forcing Mr. Who's the Boss to make a difficult decision. The fact that he deleted it because the company threatened to sue appalls me. Although by this point, the U-phone scam was already out in the open. And Mr. Who's the Boss didn't stop there. He kept posting and exposing other scams too, all the while gaining over 21 million people's trust because of it. Much like crypto fraud exposure CoffeeZilla, who in late 2022 would make one of his boldest predictions yet. I predicted the collapse of this billion-dollar company that went bankrupt today. And I'm going to show you how. I shot an entire video about it predicting it yesterday, and it was supposed to come out yesterday. But I decided, hey, these are big allegations. I should give them a chance to respond for comments. Basically, I emailed them. I said, hey, I think you're lying. I think you're insolvent. I have a lot of reasons for thinking so, and I'm going to do a story about it in 24 hours. But instead of responding, the company slammed the brakes on withdrawals, locking up billions in customer funds, and confirming to their clients what Coffee knew all along. They had a call with them at 7 a.m., basically saying, hey, oops, we've been lying for the entire week. We don't have the money after all. And this was Coffee signed to break his silence. Let's talk about Genesis. Now, many of you might not recognize the name, but they're huge lenders in crypto who at one point had $4.5 billion in assets just on their public wallets. They worked with other institutions, so if you're thinking, well, okay, that just means I'm not affected, right? Well, don't be so sure. The YouTuber then explained how a company like Genesis affected ordinary traders. For example, let's say you had your money in the Gemini Earn program, which advertises 8% on your crypto if you leave it in the hands of the social network rowing team. But the problem you might not see? There's only one approved borrower of the Gemini Earn money, Genesis Global Capital, which became a problem once Genesis lent that money out again. Sometimes the people they lend it out to, it doesn't work so well. This was exactly what had happened, and to CoffeeZilla, the warning signs were clear. They say, quote, we hedged and sold collateral, resulting in a total loss of about $7 million across all counterparties.
Now, to me, this sounds a bit like thoughtfully mitigating our losses, but once again, they insist everything's fine, right? Only the story quickly changed. They say, oops, did we say we lost $7 million? We meant that our derivatives business has $175 million in locked funds in our FTX trading account. Oops, I guess they missed that one, guys. You know, sometimes I leave a quarter in the couch. Sometimes Genesis accidentally finds $175 million stuck in a bankrupt company. It happens, guys. It happens. And as Genesis kept shifting their story, CoffeeZilla caught every contradiction, warning his followers, Gemini Earn program is in trouble. Take your money out.
But just days later, Genesis officially filed for bankruptcy, with court filings revealing liabilities of over $3.5 billion owed to creditors, including 340,000 Gemini Earn users. The internet quickly credited Coffee for calling it before the mainstream press. Coffee is absolutely 100% the only YouTuber, so if he says, "I predicted this but held my video back," I believe him 100% of the time. Since then, YouTube's favorite detective has continued earning the internet's love by uncovering scams and frauds for millions to see. But not every prediction is about scammers and financial disasters. Some are far more personal. In his 2017 livestream, beloved Minecraft YouTuber Technoblade, who would later be diagnosed with a rare type of bone cancer called a seroma, would make a grim joke: "I'm gonna die on stream." No. It's a good clickbait title, though. To be fair, I'll get hella views when I'm dead. What does it take to actually kill Technoblade? A duck made me laugh until I cried. But on June 30th, 2022, Technoblade's fans weren't laughing. Hello everyone, Technoblade here. If you're watching this, I am dead. If I had another 100 lives, I think I would choose to be Technoblade again every single time. This emotional pre-recorded message was his goodbying, coming almost a year after he revealed in August 2021 that he had been diagnosed with cancer. And just as the YouTuber had predicted, the video got over 120 million views and nearly 10 million likes, making it one of the most watched videos on his channel. But this wasn't the only Technoblade prediction that came true. The one rule of Skywars, Technoblade never dies. While initially coined as a slogan during Technoblade's Skywars dominance, this phrase became its own prophecy after his passing. Search the phrase Technoblade never dies on YouTube and you'll find tens of thousands of videos that have over 100 million collective views. His legacy living on through those three words, because Technoblade never dies.